Hello viewers, a very warm welcome to the news on Hope Channel Zambia, television that changes lives. I'm your news anchor for today, Delane Kaputula Mayuka. And on sign language, we have George Kalimukwa. Let's take a look at our headlines. Queen Elizabeth II has been laid to rest. 20 UCZ women die in a road traffic accident. A clergy says removal of the Ministry of Religious Affairs is not reason for increase in immorality. Adventist pastor asks government for action on hunger crisis in Australia. These stories plus more coming up shortly.
What is coronavirus disease?
Coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, is a respiratory disease which can infect anyone and can lead to death.
How does it spread?
It spreads by being in close contact to an infected person, being close to a person who has been exposed to a coronavirus-infected person, or touching surfaces or objects that are contaminated with the coronavirus.
What are the symptoms?
Fever, cough, difficulty in breathing or shortness of breath, body ache or headache.
How can one prevent contracting the coronavirus?
Wash your hands regularly with soap and water for at least 20 seconds or use hand sanitizer. Avoid physical contact with other people by keeping a safe distance of at least 1 meter. Cook meat, eggs, and other animal products thoroughly before eating. Cover your nose and mouth with flexed elbow or tissue when coughing or sneezing, and throw the tissue in a bin. Avoid handshakes, hugging, and kissing to reduce the chances of getting exposed to the coronavirus. Avoid unprotected contact with live farm animals. Stay at home and avoid unnecessary traveling, whether you have the symptoms or not.
If you have a fever, cough, sore throat, headache, or difficulty in breathing, call 909 or 0974 493553 or 0964 638726 and 0953 898941 for assistance today.
This message is brought to you by the Adventist Development and Relief Agency, ADRA, in partnership with the Ministry of Health.
Thank you for joining us, and now here is our news in detail. The British High Commissioner to Zambia, Nicholas Woolley, has planted a tree at the Lusaka Museum grounds today, Monday, 19th September 2022, to mark the ascendance to the kingship by King Charles II following the death of Queen Elizabeth II. This also coincided with the burial of the Queen, who has since been laid to rest today. Speaking later at the official opening of the photo exhibition of the late Queen, Mr. Woolley described the late Queen Elizabeth Alexander Mary Windsor II as a true global icon whose legacy will no doubt go down in history as one person who advocated strongly against racism and violence. He also thanked the President of Zambia and the country at large for mourning with Britain by signing in the Book of Condolences. Details in this report.
A moment of silence observed in honor of one of the greatest leaders the world has ever seen. A 70-year-old reign finally comes to its epic end. Queen Elizabeth II, born on 21st April 1926, died on 8 September 2022 at the age of 96. Today, 19 September 2022, the Queen was put to rest, and this was no ordinary day in Lusaka. The Lusaka National Museum hosted a photo exhibition in honor of the former Queen. A tree would then be planted to signify the new reign of King Charles III, which was followed by a laying of wreaths ceremony.
A long life dedicated to humble and selfless service of others. During Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II's 70-year reign, the longest in British history, she bore the burdens and splendour of a life devoted to public service. Here in Zambia, I wish to thank the many people who have come to sign the condolence book at the British High Commission and at my residence, and who have reached out with kind words, sympathies, and in some cases, their memories of meeting Her Majesty and other members of the royal family. It has meant an awful lot to me, to the High Commission, to the British community, and to many others here, and I'm very grateful indeed for all of you who have taken the time to reach out for your support. Since Her Majesty's death, I've been reflecting on the role that she played on the international stage, and in particular, her relationship with Zambia and other members of the Commonwealth. During her reign, the Queen visited over 100 countries, including Zambia in 1979. She had always previously visited Livingstone while still a princess in 1947. Her charm, wisdom, and the depth and range of her international experience through countless engagements unquestionably made her the United Kingdom's greatest diplomat.
Daniel Chilema, reporting for Hope News in Lusaka.
Now, in other news, Inspector General of Police Lemmy Kajova has warned the team of instructors who are training police women ahead of peacekeeping to take care of the equipment which was donated by the Canadian government or face severe disciplinary actions. Mr. Kajova says instructors should not misuse the equipment as their duty is not to destroy but to take care of the same equipment. He said this at the official opening of the United Nations Police Pre-Assessment for Mission Service at Lilai Police Training College today. 60 female officers drawn from divisions, units, and police headquarters will undergo a training at the first ever Pre-Assessment for Mission Service training. Speaking at the same event, Global Affairs Canada High Commission to Zambia, Jenny Hill, said that training will address challenges faced by the LC Initiative project aimed at combating. Ms. Hill said after research conducted in 2019, it came to light that there are less women in uniform who participate in peacekeeping operations. She says having female officers as peacekeepers will have a positive impact not only in Zambia, but the world as a whole. Meanwhile, United Nations Development Program to Zambia resident representative Lionel Lawrence said there is need to support more recruitments and training of women in peacekeeping operations. Mr. Lawrence said women in peacekeeping have potential to play a role by inspiring girls in the community to become peacekeepers. And Lilai College Commandant Paul Achiume said instructors are ready to train the female officers for peacekeeping with the help of Canadian counterparts. Mr. Achiume expressed pleasure for choosing to train female officers for peacekeeping at Lilai College training. Details in this story.
Working with the Zambia Police Service drew up numerous interactive programs from which they identified the need to provide skills training in 4x4 motor vehicle driving, computers, English language proficiency, firearms handling, and shooting. In furtherance to this, the government of Canada through UNDP donated various equipment such as 10 brand new Land Cruiser motor vehicles. We also received 80 desktop computers, 10 laptops with 2 Canon digital senders, and also we also received HF transceivers for police officers, more especially for women preparations for peacekeeping missions.
To take this moment to address our brave and dedicated women in uniform. We applaud your efforts and appreciate your families for supporting you in this career path. The role that peacekeepers play is not only very noble, it's at the same time a very important responsibility. Therefore, all personnel such as yourselves must aim to meet the United Nations set minimum requirements, including professional experience, language skills, mission-specific skills, driving skills, and firearms proficiency. This service is intricately linked to the Sustainable Development Goals, in particular the goal number 16, which is to promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development and provide access to justice for all and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels.
So they will be partnering with the ZPS to provide training to you who are here. And this training will focus, as we've heard, on writing, shooting, and driving. And these are all the skills you will all need at the end of 2 weeks to pass those exams. If you aren't familiar with the RCMP, this is more than just Canada's National Police Service. It's been part of the fabric of Canada since 1873, almost 150 years. And many of you may have seen the iconic image of Canadian Mountie, as we call him. So a Mountie because they're wearing red jackets atop a horse, which you will not be seeing during your time here, but this is sort of the iconic image that we see in Canada. On a daily basis, their hard work and dedication has helped Canada earn a reputation for leadership in peacekeeping, including providing training to leadership. We're just delighted to hear that as our leaders. So before I wrap up, you may have noticed at the outset when I started talking that I described the ELSI initiative, or sorry, when I described the ELSI initiative, I referenced the word meaningful when we're talking about the participation of women in peacekeeping missions. So what exactly does that mean? And please listen carefully, because this is really at the essence of the ELSI initiative and what it is that we're hoping to collectively achieve. So when we talk about peacekeeping missions and women participating meaningfully, here's what we mean. So this is when women are contributing to and included in.
Little did I know that I was going to find myself in charge of the project today. The aim of the project was to basically establish the challenges that female police officers face when it comes to participating in peace support operations. The research project established about 10 barriers that hinder the meaningful participation of female police officers. The guest of honor, sir, ladies and gentlemen, in a quest to address some of the challenges identified in the barrier assessment report, the ELSI Initiative Canada and ZPS undertook a series of meetings which were conducted virtually due to the pandemic COVID-19. It is from these interactions that it was resolved to conduct the all-female PRISA training. The focus for this training is to address some of the challenges that were cited in the project.
Now, in a sad development, 20 members of the Women's Christian Fellowship, WCF, of the United Church of Zambia have died in a road traffic accident which happened at Chaushi Hill in Sumbu district along Samba-Sumbu Road around 01 hours today. UCZ Northern Presbytery Bishop Maybin Mulenga confirmed the development in a statement. Bishop Mulenga says the accident happened after the driver of the motor vehicle, light canter truck, which the mothers boarded, lost control and overturned as it was descending the Chaushi Hill few kilometers from Nsumbu. He revealed that 18 died on the spot while 2 died at Nsumbu Clinic. Bishop Mulenga said the bodies of the deceased have since been evacuated to Mporokoso General Hospital, while those that survived were rushed to Nsumbu Clinic and Pulungu District Hospital for medical attention. He says the 20 that have died are part of the 58 mothers who were traveling back from the consistory conference which was held at Munwa in Sama Consistory over the weekend. Bishop Mulenga has since prayed for the bereaved families to find comfort in God during this trying period. Some tailors in Lusaka's Kamwala Trading Center have claimed loss after the lifting of the mandatory masking up following the reduction in COVID-19 cases across the country. Most tailors who requested to remain unknown say despite the masking up being measures coming as a result of a crisis, they made a substantial amount of mask-making business, which now has since dropped. In an interview, some tailors said business has gone down compared to the past days when people would have no option but to buy for them to access public places. Meanwhile, Mr. Evans Mbewe, also a tailor in Kamwala Market, said the lifting of mandatory masking has not affected his business in any way because mask-making business for him was out by the way. He says now that the mask-making business has halted, he continues with other areas such as uniform making and chitenge wear. The Ministry of Health earlier this month announced the lifting of mandatory masking up. We have details in the following story.
The lifting of COVID-19 mandatory, which was announced on the 8th September 2022 by the Minister of Health, Sylvia Masevo, which means people are no longer forced to put on face masks in public. However, the lifting of COVID-19 mandatory has affected business of tailors who used to sew face masks. In an interview with some of the tailors, said business has gone down because people no longer buy face masks due to the announcement made by the Minister of Health.
Since there is no customers who are coming, as the government announced to say, they have reduced cases, so people are no longer buying, of which this has affected our business here. We no longer sell masks the way we used to in the previous past. Since as we do business tailoring, to us it was of benefit. On the other hand, it was a problem with other people. To us it was a benefit since we were making those masks, we are making money through those things.
It is slowed. Munga pa kudala, tenzeli kuna na drama chukua chama face mask. Ukafunenda ku school, uzafunika mwana wa school ava face mask. Ukafunongera mchof pride, uzafunika kutu ava face mask. But these days mwen konkana na government mweti vati rudingir. Steve afuti face mask. So the most Steve face mask is munga is kulise matailers business yasashani yankala pants.
Meanwhile, Mr. Evans Mbewe, a tailor at Kamwala Market, said the lifting of COVID-19 mandatory has not affected his business in any way. He said the business of sewing face masks came in as a side hustle. Mr. Mbewe has requested the government to empower them in order to have a good working environment.
Since ma permanent enzo tungama max yaja, tinali kudala na business yatu ya ma uniforms. Ijenze chabe party time job. So tinaona chabe yambo bwerera pansi, but sinati chite affect ife ku business yatu because ife yatu ni ya vana wa school. Pantao ya mene vana wa school wakasegula timankhalako na business. Tawe ya mene vana wa school ngatiswana segule imabwerera pansi business. So chimati kalira chabwino ngati chakuti vasegula maskuzi vana. Business yasu si maenda chifukwa cha max yani. O kunkala affected ni chifukwa cha max. Chifukwa max ja inabwena chifukwa cha matenda. So matenda yakalie bwere kukalie nkale na max tinali kudya nali kuvala boma inalutenga taxi kulife tifuna ife ikuti tandi zako mungaone muno mwamene tisebenzera place ingono ino place ni ingono maningi tifuna malo yakuti tinga chitebwan develop.
Rebecca Chikubai reporting for Hope News in Lusaka.
We now pause for a commercial break, but when we return, we have more local stories and international stories. Don't go away.
Are you a student studying journalism, mass communication or video production and looking for a place to do your internship? Well, Hope Channel Zambia in Kitwe is inviting you to send in your application for internship. As a student, you will be acquainted with hands-on work such as news anchoring, scripting, camera handling and TV production. That's right. Send your application and recommendation letters from your institution or college to email tjmkwambwa@gmail.com For more details, you can call the number 0977 120891. Grab this opportunity and be part of the vibrant team. Hope Channel Zambia, a channel that changes lives.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. Woodlands Conference President Dr. Daniel Chunga has urged individuals, families, communities, and the government to join forces in fighting and combating the growing immorality trend in the country. Dr. Chunga, while agreeing that there is a lot of immorality in the country, says people should not forget that the devil is still alive and that he has doubled his efforts. Therefore, it is incumbent upon every individual to guard jealously what they watch, eat, and limit some social media sites that affect their decision making. And Dr. Chunga has further stated that the world is coming to its close and there is need for everyone to play a part in instituting good morals. He also refuted claims that the removal of the Ministry of Religious Affairs has been the major contributor to bad behavioral patterns and stated that it is only God himself who can serve the country. We have more in the following story.
In a world which has seemingly normalized sin and people are at liberty to indulge in adultery, fornication, incest, drug abuse, homosexuality, and other bad vices contrary to God's commands, one might ask if perhaps this could mean the end of the world. Woodlands Conference President Dr. Daniel Chunga was on course to respond to these pressing questions.
I agree with you that today the media is flooded with a lot of sexual atrocities, incest, rape, child sexual molestation. All these vices are greeting our eyes and ears. Now, the truth of the matter is, the devil is still alive. The devil is not yet dead. You know, the Bible says in the last days, according to Matthew 24, verse 13 and 14, evil shall abound. Furthermore, the devil knows that his days are short before Jesus comes. So he is overworking. He is like a roaring lion. So these are basically the last days which are spoken of in the Bible when Jesus is about to come.
He adds that despite the world coming to an end, there is need for serious mindset change, especially amongst the youths. Dr. Chunga says that the removal of the Religious Affairs Ministry has got little or nothing to do with the current immoral trend storming the country.
Parents must take time to talk to the young men and young women, because this is reality. If children will learn about sex from the media, these are the things that we are getting today. So the family has a responsibility. The church too has a responsibility of modeling morals for the church members. Not only that, the community as well has a duty to perform, to desist from such atrocities. Above all, these are the last days in which we live. According to me, the Ministry of Religious Affairs is just a tip in the whole ocean. The putting away of that ministry does not mean is what is escalating these immoral behaviors. I don't agree to that.
Daniel Chilema, reporting for Hope News in Lusaka.
Thank you, Daniel, for that report. Youths from Chilanga Main Seventh-day Adventist Church yesterday took time to feed over 30 inmates incarcerated at Chilanga Police Station during a community service. The youth say it is their Christian mandate to regularly visit people in police custody and jail cells and offer any kind of aid they can. The youth also swept and thoroughly cleaned the police cells and the surroundings of the police station. And Chilanga Police Station management thanked the youth for the kind gesture and have called on youth from all walks of life to emulate what Chilanga Adventist youth are doing, saying police alone cannot manage to maintain sanity without the help of members of the community. We join our reporter for the story.
They are known for notable and noble services they have continually been rendering to the community. These are youths of Chilanga Seventh-day Adventist Church. They were yesterday, Sunday, at Chilanga Police Station for a community service. They swept around the compound, cleaned police cells, and donated some food items to over 30 inmates at the police station.
So, as ambassadors of Chilanga Main SDA Church, we are here at Chilanga Police Station doing community service. We do this every quarter. So this third quarter, we are doing it from Chilanga Police Station, where we've come here to clean the surrounding places. We swept the cells, the surrounding, even the inquiry, the offices. We cleaned everywhere. Now it's time to provide food for about 30 inmates who are in there. So we encourage even other ambassadors from other churches to do this. Let's evangelize, let's love the forgotten, let's continue preaching through deeds, not only words.
And the Chilanga Police Station authorities were thankful for this kind gesture.
I want to thank the Adventist Church from Chilanga, especially the ambassadors who have come to do community service at our station. I wish to recommend that this is the way to go, because police alone cannot manage to do anything. Hence, with your coming, we ensure that our station is cleansed and also our inmates are fed with the word of God, so that they have a hope that this is not the end. It is their time now to reflect from what they have done. The other issue I want to recommend to the church administration for taking this step. We encourage you that to continue. I would urge also other churches that if they can emulate Chilanga SDA ambassadors, youth who have come to do community service. So this is better because it will see us that police and the community are in good relationship.
Community service, among many other services, is one of the duties at the core of the youth ministries of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. It is a way of showing responsibility and sharing the love of God to communities in which the youths live in. And this is what inspires the youths of Chilanga SDA Church. Mwene Mianga, reporting for Hope News in Lusaka.
Now in Pathfinder News, the Pathfinder Club on Saturday, 17th September 2022 celebrated 72 years of existence under the theme Change the World. The Global Pathfinder Day that started with a week of prayer and culminated in a Pathfinder Sabbath was colorful with presentations from the Pathfinders. Pathfinder Day is celebrated every year in September to mark their anniversary. Speaking after the event, Pastor Anjum Kandawire encouraged the young ones to be faithful and responsible for their lives following the mission of the Pathfinder ministry, remembering that we are all called to make disciples. Details in the following story.
Change the world, change the world. Don't be shy, just be yourself. Let's all march along in faith, and through Jesus change the world. Let no man despise the youth.
We have had a wonderful week of prayer, culminating into Pathfinder Day, which actually happens to be the 72nd anniversary of the Pathfinder Club, meaning that for the last 72 years, the Pathfinder Club in its existence has served humanity, has trained its youth, has dedicated the work of the Lord to training the younger ones between the ages of 10 to 15. And for the last 70 years, those men and women have been a powerful force, like we call ourselves an army in the Lord. And so today is a wonderful day where we celebrate 72 years of having existed as a Pathfinder Club. This week commenced with wonderful lessons, just trying to encourage us to, be faithful as workmen and women in the army of the Lord. We have learned from very simple lessons in the Bible, very simplified sermons about how to tap into the faith of the men and women of old in the Bible, so we could just learn how to be faithful in our little corners of the world. Our theme this year has been to change the world. And so we have learned throughout the week that for us to be able to change the world, we must begin by changing ourselves. We must begin by changing our own world. And so throughout this week, we have had simple lessons about how to improve one's life so we can change our own world. And that after our world is changed, then we can be able to change other people's lives. And understanding that changing the world requires changing one life at a time. We implore all Pathfinders and those older who have been in the Pathfinder Club to just reach out to one particular soul, one life at a time. And as far as the Lord is concerned, that in itself is changing the world. We don't need to change the whole world at a go. We just need to change one life. The one life will culminate into more lives. And thus, we're changing the world one life at a time. So, as we conclude our 72nd celebration of the existence of the Pathfinder Club, one more time we re-echo the call. Change your life by being faithful in the duties and responsibilities that God has put upon your life. And when you are responsible, when you are faithful, you change your own life. When you have changed your life, reach out to one soul. Change one life at a time. Change the world. That is what we exist for as a Pathfinder Club. Thank you very much.
Change the world, change the world. Don't be shy, just be yourself. Let's all march along in faith, and through Jesus change the world. Let no man.
Interesting story there. We now have international news where two Adventist pastors were part of the MICA Australia's women delegation that met with Australian political leaders in Canberra to highlight the needs of the world's most vulnerable people. Pastor Sylvia Mendes, Women Ministries liaison for the Australian Union Conference and a church pastor in Melbourne, and Pastor Mo Stiles, a chaplain and pastor in Melbourne, participated in meetings at Parliament House representing the Adventist Church and the Adventist Development and Relief Agency ADRA, one of 18 Christian organizations that make up the MICA Australian Coalition. The 36 Christian women leaders spoke with 45 members of Parliament and senators in support of the MICA's Australia's current campaign, highlighting the urgent needs of an estimated 50 million people around the world who are on the brink of a famine as a result of the convergence of conflict, COVID-19, and climate change. They called on the Australian government to provide additional emergency aid of 150 million Australian dollars in next month's budget to help the most affected nations, including Somalia, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Syria, Yemen, and Afghanistan. Both pastors expressed their appreciation of the opportunity to speak up on an important issue and interact with politicians and other Christian leaders. Pastor Stiles also admits her meetings with parliamentarians helped to humanize her perception of politicians, including being invited to pray for a senior government minister. That international story brings us to the close of this evening's news, but before we go, let's take another look at our top stories. Queen Elizabeth II has been laid to rest. 20 UCZ women die in a road traffic accident. A clergy says removal of the Ministry of Religious Affairs is not reason for the increase in immorality. Adventist pastors ask for government action on hunger crisis in Australia. I was your anchor for the news, Delane Kaputula Mayuka, and on sign language today we had George Kalimukwa. Keep watching Hope Channel Zambia, television that changes lives. Stay blessed.